of money that's more than the cost of a private jet. And I think that's only kind of the first example of and many more things like that we have seen and that we are going to see, right? I think as our society enters the information age, the most important things are going to be digital in some way, and that's going to create a society and an economy that looks weird, right? And I think like that's not a property of crypto. I think that's just a property of this stage of technological progress in general, no matter what form it takes. So I think part of that definitely is that we are seeing that this this function of kind of creating these basic kind of institutions and that our society and our economy runs on, like they're not going to be only geographically limited to countries and governments anymore, right? I do think that governments continue to play an important role, but at the same time, we're also going to see many of these kinds of ecosystems that represent, digital communities that represent sort of diverse and different groups of people from around the world. And I think there's a healthy balance that can be made between both of those kinds of systems. And, I don't expect cryptocurrencies to completely take over the world, but I think they definitely have an important role to play in creating an alternative. And especially, I think having an alternative is even more important, not just for people in kind of wealthy countries where the existing kind of services tend to be stable, but also in many other parts of the world where there just isn't a good fiat currency that people can trust and not just destroy their savings over the next 10 years. And I think in cryptocurrency, cryptocurrencies also, right? They're not a finished product. Like we are seeing new ones, we are seeing better ones, and I think we have seen a lot of innovation recently in trying to create cryptocurrencies that have less volatility, that can be better as medium of exchange. So it's an evolving space.
If I translate what both of you have told me, you are telling us that you are telling us two things. One, currencies are far too important to let them in the hand of government. And second, you don't trust enough government and you prefer that the private sector is creating cryptocurrencies alongside the other money. I don't want to create a problem to you. I see that you are a little bit uneasy. Now, there is no police behind, so you can be sure that you will not be taken to a camp or anything of the like. You are in France.
It's okay. So I think basically we want to increase the level of freedom without sacrificing the security, ease of use, and even compliance, etc. So any time in human history when we're able to increase the freedom of something without sacrificing other aspects, our civilization advances. So if you think about slavery, freedom of press, freedom of education, freedom of information, so anytime we increase the freedom, we push the civilization forward. And today, I'm not saying that government should not be involved in currencies, etc. I think they should be, but how much involvement? Can private enterprises have some involvement as well, or not? Or does it have to be black and white? So can we move that spectrum a little bit? So we're exploring those options.
Vitalik, you have an answer to that?
Yeah, no, I think, like as I've said before, like I don't think it's about like crypto and digital stuff replacing governments. I think it's about crypto and digital stuff and governments. Like I think, as like basically, in the in the 21st century, we're moving from a world where the rules are mostly kind of laws of physics that were set by, some kind of God in the sky in nature 13.7 billion years ago, into a world where we're living more and more inside of structures that are being created and maintained by other humans. And I think, governments have an important role in shaping that world, and I also think that these different kinds of non-governmental and international structures have an important role in shaping that world as well.
To be honest, I believe that creating alternative is a very good thing. And I believe also that the world has changed so dramatically in the last 20 years that it's good to shake up a little bit the system. So on that front, I'm completely aligned with you. Sisi, you have created a blockchain, which is BNB. How different it is from the blockchain of Vitalik and the other ones? Is it a competition that you are opening?
I don't think it's in competition at all, but it is quite similar. We took Ethereum, copied the protocol. No, actually, I didn't do that. Our team did that. We sponsored them. We supported them. We took Ethereum. Well, we took Ethereum and made it more scalable and made it POS. So the two things that Vitalik was mentioning before. But the two blockchains are different even today. So today we see a lot of high value items being traded on the Ethereum blockchain. Whereas the retail items, the items that are really, really cheap, the items that are like $10, people don't want to pay our $10 fee. So we see a lot more of those smaller transactions on the BNB chain. I actually don't know how much source code those guys took, but I think they made the protocol compatible in terms of the smart contract design. It's Solidity compatible. But today, I don't view that as competition. We still support Ethereum very, very heavily. And Binance have multiple products in the ecosystem that may or may not have competitions, what people call competitions with other products. But any one of our products will support the entire ecosystem. So on the Binance exchange, we support Ethereum tokens very, very heavily. We also support BNB chain. On the wallet, we support Ethereum, obviously. On the BNB chain, we work with multiple centralized exchanges trying to list in different places. So it's a multi-to-multi network relationship. I don't think it's a pure competition. We just say, look, let's encourage as many innovation as possible. There's some copying here and there, but let's encourage that and let's see how the industry develops. But Vitalik may have a different opinion. I don't know.
We are entering in a new world with Web3. And Web3 is based mainly on blockchain, NFTs, metaverse. So you are, both of you, at the forefront of Web3. First, can you define what could be the role of Binance and Ethereum in the world of Web3?
Okay, I'll take a crack first. I think Ethereum pioneered the NFT token, the ERC, which 714 design.
721.
741, yeah. Thank you. And then Ethereum also pioneered the ERC20 design. So Ethereum pioneered, prototype all of these concepts and actually built all of these concepts. So Ethereum is a true, like Vitalik is a true genius, and they're the ones pushing the innovation front very heavily. I view Binance's role is more the application side. We want, like throughout my career, I've always looked at how to take a very good concept and give it to hundreds of millions of people, hopefully, or maybe billions of people. That requires scaling. So Binance is the centralized exchange, has a couple hundred, 120 million users today. Decentralized world is a little bit smaller, but we're always looking, my view is always like, how do we multiply this at scale? So that's kind of my view, but Vitalik can also give his views, which might be different.
Vitalik.
Yeah, I mean, so like the way that I look at Web3 in general is that it's basically a collection of efforts to try to create a better internet that uses blockchains, zero-knowledge proofs, other kinds of newer technologies to try to solve some of the problems around like centralization, privacy, security that people are concerned about in Web 2. And I think many different technologies and many different projects have an important role to play in that. So I think a lot of the Web3 ideas definitely absolutely require a blockchain in some form. If people are interested in the topic, a few days ago I published a piece on my blog, vitalik.ca, where I just kind of go through some some of the non-financial applications where, and like some like specific places where I think blockchains make sense there as well. So it's not just about finance; it's also about identity, just creating better forms of like internet applications in general, and improving on privacy and so forth. I think, I mean, the valuable thing that Binance provides, I think, is just being a gateway. Like when you visit, like when I visited Argentina at the end of last year, right, and I talked to a lot of people, just regular users and just people in coffee shops that just happens to accept ETH. A lot of them, they just have Binance accounts, and like that just is their gateway for getting assets and interacting with the world. So I think that's like those kinds of gateways always have an important function to play.
One of the greatest advantage of Web3 is that it will be a formidable tool for the decentralized economy, and everything which is currently centralized may explode tomorrow. So what is your view of the future of decentralized economy? And I have the same question to Vitalik.
Sure. So my view is Web 2 really decentralized information. So with the internet's function is really a better way to transfer information, and that has completely changed the way we live, we interact, we communicate, etc. Web 3, in my view, is going to change the way we transact value. So it's going to change how we invest, how we raise money, how we do transactions, how we do business globally. Business is going to be much more global, much more without borders, and much more decentralized, but at the same time also more global, right? So there will be more participants in the ecosystem. I think we will see much more startups. Now raising money for startups using blockchains much easier than before. So I think this is more of a fundamental changes on how we do businesses, how we structure business models.
Vitalik, what do you think?
I think, yeah, and I think like to me, the finance is definitely a big part of it, but also I do think that there are things that can be improved in the internet in terms of things like reducing the level of infringement of privacy, the level of centralization, the level of kind of all these other issues in the internet that go beyond finance as well. And I think the blockchain space has a lot to contribute in those areas as well.
Vitalik, CZ, you are shaping the future. You are really not only pioneering the future, but shaping it. And I think that you will be the people who will shape the way we will be buying, working, and shopping. I would like to thank you very warmly. A rouse of applause to our friends.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bravo. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.